What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask RGT 85, where I answer your questions. This week's question comes to us from Sean Arsenal. He asked me what 5 Nintendo franchises I wanted to see on the NX, but there was a small caveat. I had to pick a franchise from each console, so the NES, Super NES, GameCube, N64, and Wii. Yes, that wasn't in order, but whatever. So basically 5 franchises, one from each console. So I thought about it for a little bit, and this is what I came up with. So for the NES, this was probably the easiest choice for me. Star Tropics. Earthbound fans like to bitch that Nintendo has forgotten about them. Look, people, at least you get your characters in Smash Brothers, and you got Earthbound Beginnings on the Wii U Virtual Console. When has Star Tropics fans gotten anything? Star Tropics was an awesome RPG series on the NES. There was 2 entries in it, and that was it. Nintendo never did anything beyond the NES days with Star Tropics, and I really feel like that's a genre that Nintendo needs to kind of have, you know, the traditional JRPG, but I would love to see Nintendo do the traditional JRPG, not necessarily Monolith Software. So it would be interesting to see how Star Tropics would turn out on the NX. So for the NES, definitely Star Tropics. I definitely want to see Star Tropics come back. I'm not holding my breath for it or anything, but I would love to see Star Tropics come back. Super Nintendo. That one I actually thought about for a little bit. I had a couple different choices, but I decided to go with Super Metroid remade in a Metroid Prime style. I think that would just be phenomenal. Super Metroid, of course, is one of the greatest Metroid games ever, and I think it would do really well in that first-person perspective of the Metroid Prime series. It would be really cool to, you know, visit these places in Super Metroid, and I just think it would be phenomenal. The boss battles and whatnot, it would be a really cool game. So I would love to see a Super Metroid remake in the Prime style. So that's my choice from the Super Nintendo. The N64, I'm gonna have to go, of course, with F-Zero. Sheenan Multimedia is doing a really good job of fast racing Neo. So if I'm Nintendo and I'm making money, and you know, I'm probably gonna make money from this stupid Super Mario Run thing, why not, you know, outsource these games? Sheenan Multimedia has shown that they know how to do an F-Zero style game. Why not just give them the IP and say, hey, come up with something? I'm sure they would be able to do something really good, especially with some Nintendo funding. So I would love to see F-Zero come back. I know a lot of people think that F-Zero is dead. I kind of am one of those people. Definitely surprised we didn't see an F-Zero entry on the Wii U, but then again, we also didn't see a Metroid on the Wii U. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that F-Zero could come back on the NX. And that's definitely something I would want to see from the N64 age, because F-Zero on the N64 was awesome. My GameCube pick. This is probably going to be the most controversial one, but it's something that I liked on the GameCube. I thought it was a really good game. It was a really fun game. And that game is Geist. Geist was a one-off game that was developed with Nintendo and N-Space, I believe it was. And it was a really cool game. You played as a dead person, as their ghost, and you can inhabit other people and other objects, inanimate objects or animals and stuff like that. So like, for instance, if you're trying to scare a guard and he's near some dogs, you can take over the dog and start barking, or to scare it, but in actuality you have to scare the dog to get into him, so you'd have to like shake his food bowl or something. There was just so many interesting opportunities with that game, and it didn't sell well, it didn't really perform well. Reviews were pretty mixed on the game. But I just thought Geist was such an interesting game and a fresh style of game, and it's a shame that Nintendo never really revisited anything from that game. You know, Geist is pretty much forgotten about, except by me, I guess. So from the GameCube era, definitely Geist, man. Nintendo should definitely try to look more towards these mature titles with the NX, because there's a market for them on their systems, whether they want to believe it or not. You know, not all of us are, you know, 10 years old that are playing Nintendo systems. You know, why not have the best of both worlds? So I would love to see Geist come back. And finally, we are left with the Wii, and this was a tough one as well. Definitely took some thinking over, but I went with Sin and Punishment. Sin and Punishment is a phenomenal series. The N64 version was great, even though it never came out in the States. You can get it on the Virtual Console. And of course, there was Sin and Punishment Star Successor, I believe it was called, on the Wii. Sin and Punishment is an awesome, just over-the-top, arcadey style shooting game, and I just love it. The graphics for the Wii were very impressive, and it's just a really fun game. It's the type of game maybe in 2017, 2018, it's not a full $60 release, but you could do something, you know, on the digital shop with it and maybe do a limited physical release with the game. So yeah, Sin and Punishment, man. It's a shame that, you know, the Wii version didn't sell all that great, and once again, that'll kind of probably go the way of Star Tropics, in all honesty. But Sin and Punishment was an awesome series, an awesome franchise, and definitely one that Nintendo should revisit. And I just wanted to throw in one extra one, so this is actually going to be 6 franchises. Fatal Frame. Come on, Nintendo. This digital download nonsense of Fatal Frame on the Wii U was ridiculous. You're charging the full retail price, I believe it was $50, and it was a great game. I really had a lot of fun with it. This is the type of game that you need to have a physical release, even if it's just a limited run of the game. Not limited run games, but a limited, you know, print of the game. There are people that would gladly purchase this over the digital copy. So Fatal Frame is another franchise I'd like to see. So in the comments section below, let me know what franchises, Nintendo franchises, you want to see on the Nintendo NX. And as always, if you want to ask me a question, make sure you like my Facebook page. It's in the description box below. And you can, I'll ask once a week or so, you know, ask me a question and I pick one and then we do one of these videos. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you want to see. If you want to get an RGT85 shirt, you can also check those out in the description box as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.